Hello family. So this is August, earlier into Monday morning, and the markets are open. So this is what I want to say price doing for the rest of the week. Alright, so this is my analysis. It's going to be a short one, straightforward. Don't want to be wasting a lot of time. So from the weekly time frame, we have seen how price has been moving to the upside, and we said from our previous sessions that we want to see price take this buy side liquidity first, right? And you can see it trading up to these fair value gaps and even go beyond this fair value gap, right? This our bias is built from the monthly time frame. You can go to the monthly time frame and you will see that we have some inefficiency up there. So from the weekly time frame, price created a market structure shift, gave us a break of structure, and it has done well retracement up to this level. I want us to concentrate on how last week closed. All right, we see how the previous week was heavily momentum, and then the next week, the last week, the previous week that just ended, we see how the momentum reduced. All right, you can see how the momentum reduced, telling us that we have some buyers coming into the market. So if we go to the daily time frame, this is what we have. Alright, we have this as our swing breaker structure from the weekly time frame, right there, and this was our internal breaker structure, last internal breaker structure right there. Alright, from the daily time frame, and the price did well to return to our order block or our demand zone. Alright, we have this as our demand zone. The price did well to tap that's last week, and we had our NFP came last week and it took liquidity below this point. So that was a liquidity sweep. Alright, that was a liquidity sweep. So as it stands for now, we want to see the XY print to the bullish side. Alright, it should aim this buy side liquidity, alright, at the moment, as price is at the moment. If something changes, fine, but if nothing changes, we want to see price come to this point and create that Bosbo breaker structure to the upside, right at that point, create that Bosbo breaker structure aiming at this our weekly buy side liquidity we saw from the weekly time frame. So my bias for the week is that I want to see the XY go up, that's go bullish, and I want to see EURUSD and GBP USD and gold go bearish. Alright, the reason we have analyzed it and we have seen that price is at our demand zone from the daily time frame. This can only change if I see price close below my demand zone. If price can close below my demand zone, then I can say now we are coming to this most extreme demand zone, right? This weekly demand zone. But it is right now, we are in a fairly strong continuation zone. Alright, this was a retracement and the price has tapped our continuation zone. So we want to see price create another impulsive move like the one that happened right there, that started to this breaker structure. We want to see another one coming at this point to create a breaker structure and tap that weekly target. Alright, so if we go to our 4-hour time frame, everything is just aligning to that. Alright, we have this our breaker structure at this point. Alright, and what happens up to the breaker structure? You want to see price do some retracement up to it before we have that continuation move. As we know, price moves from balance to imbalance and from balance to imbalance. Alright, so at this point price was balanced, it created this an imbalance and it has been retracing, alright, to this balance, and we are about to have that continuation of the imbalance to create this breakout structure and target to this our ultimate weekly target. Alright, so our previous week we saw how the price took liquidity below this point. That was a liquidity sweep. So I really don't want to see another liquidity. I'm not looking for another liquidity. I've already had my liquidity swept. Alright, if price decides to sweep another liquidity, is fine, but for me, my first liquidity sweep box has been checked. So if I see a market structure shift around this point or price closing above this point, then you can know that we are targeting now these buy side liquidities. Alright, but I want to show you something very significant that may finally decide to that sweep of liquidity I'm talking about. You see this demand zone, it was never tapped. Alright, you can see that price didn't tap this demand zone. The first time it came later from somewhere there, but it didn't tap this ultimate demand zone. So what? So if that liquidity sweep will come again, alright, we have already had our first liquidity sweep. If the second liquidity sweep will come, then we are targeting, then price may be targeting this ultimate demand zone. Alright, you have seen how this demand zone was not tapped. So if that liquidity sweep will come, then price is targeting this second demand zone, and then we'll have to now align with what the market does, and we'll take our buy from this point, from this demand zone to that point. Alright, but then we can do something like that. But if that doesn't happen, we can also take our buy from this point upward, because we have already had our liquidity sweep. So that's what I'm looking to. I'm anticipating a strong dollar for the rest of the week. So we just fairly early in the morning, so the markets are just opening. So even the London session has not started yet. So let's wait out the London opens, and then New York. Maybe we'll catch that move tomorrow, Tuesday, New York session. We can have that continuation move to the upside. Alright, so without wasting time, what I do on DXY, I just replicate it on EURUSD. As we have said, we want to see DXY being strong, so typically or technically we want to see EURUSD, not DXY, but EURUSD, GBP USD, and XAUUSD being weak for the rest of the week. Alright, you want to see them weak, or you want to see them print to the downside. So typically this was also just like DXY, bearish market structure on weekly, breakout structure right there, breakout structure, and we have this possible breakout structure. Alright, possible breakout structure right there. And we also seen out our previous week the buying momentum reduced. We have some indecision candle, signifying that buyers and sellers are having some negotiations. Alright, so from the daily time frame, just also the same thing. We have our internal breakout structure into that sell side liquidity, internal breakout structure. This was the swing breakout structure, and this is our possible breakout structure, where you motherfucker, right there. So this is our possible breakout structure, and price has done well also to tap to our supply zone. Alright, so everything is saying that we wanna see EURUSD selling, and when we are selling EURUSD, it is just basic knowledge that someone should understand when it comes to the forex market. When you are selling EURUSD, what you are typically saying is that you want to see euro weakening while the USD or the dollar strengthening. Alright, and when you are buying EURUSD, what you are typically saying is that you want to see the euro strengthening and the USD dollar weakening. Alright, so typically we have done our analysis technically from the DXY, that's the dollar, that's the USD, and we have seen that the DXY, or that our USD, want to see it being strong, right, going to the upside or bullish. So that's what typically tells us, is that we want to see the euro weakening. And when we have come to our EURUSD, and we have seen that yes, price is at a point that will probably result to that euro weakening, and we have already seen how the dollar is going to strengthen, so it will make sense for us to sell EURUSD. Alright, so this is our supply zone right there. So I want to see price running from that point. So from the 4-hour time frame, it's also making sense. Price has tapped to our supply zone, right? This was a mitigation block, yes. So if I see my signature, then this is what I want to see, my confirmation coming in, as we have seen. Maybe we'll just strip that liquidity as we saw from the DXY, and then we'll continue to the downside to take this sell side liquidity. Alright, that's what I want to see from EURUSD. But as it is now, I don't have an entry. Alright, I don't have an entry. My entry will come if price will have to close below this zone, this point. But for now, there's no entry yet. If price will do something like this, let me show you. That will be my entry without wasting time. Sweep the liquidity and give me something like this. I will take my trade from this breaker block or a mitigation block and swing it all the way down without hesitation, without any contradiction. Alright, I will take it without second guessing or without doubting anything. So that's what I have on EURUSD. It's just early in the morning, Monday morning. So Mondays are always slow. So maybe that move will come on Tuesday, New York, and then we'll take it with confidence. Alright, so it's the same thing with GBP USD. Just the same thing. Also want to see it selling. Also the same thing to euro, not euro but XAU USD. We have seen that we want to see the dollar buying, so typically also XAU USD should be selling, and it also makes sense because this was the last break of structure price did. Alright, let's see, break of structure, and we have this as our supply zone. This is our supply zone. Price tapped it, though I wanna see price weak above this supply zone. I wanna see price sweep liquidity, and that's because we see how this previous day was very strong, right? The previous candle was very strong, so there's a high possibility that price will weak and tap to this our ultimate supply zone. We have another zone that is unmitigated. This is gold. Gold is very tricky, so price may decide to wake up and tap to this zone. So, but it all comes down to your entry model. What do you wanna see before you take your trade? Alright, so price may decide to wake above this and tap to this our ultimate supply zone, and then from that point, then you can have that movement to the downside. Alright, so even in the 4-hour time frame, you can see how this was a break of structure. A break of structure, and price has done well to tap to our supply zone that decided to that break of structure. Right, so as it is also, as it is showing now, we don't have any signal, right, that's telling us that it's time to sell. Alright, so you will have to wait, sit and watch how price reacts. If it gives us our confirmation at this point, let's see what price is doing. You can see how the momentum is very weak, right, and this was the last break of structure. Even in the 15 minutes very weak. Alright, so unless price closes below this point, and then we can start selling, we can start taking sales if price closes below this zone. Alright, but as it is now, we don't have anything yet. Alright, and then if we are trading from the 1 hour, you will want to wait and see price how price will close below that zone, below this point. Alright, but just it is now. It's not trade yet. It also may come maybe New York or tomorrow, Tuesday. It is just Monday, so me personally Mondays are slow for me, so I don't take too much stress on myself because it's Monday. So if my setup doesn't come, I just wait for Tuesday. So it's normal to do that. So also USD card is what I'm watching. We have to also watch how it does its thing. Alright, so from the 4-hour time frame, USD card is bearish. Alright, USD card is bearish. I know, the XY is supposed to be bullish. So that bullishness in the XY is what is going to bring this retracement up to that zone. I missed this trade last week, so honestly myself delayed everything. So that bullishness in the XY is going to bring that retracement up to this zone. Alright, up to that zone, and then we can continue that sell to the downside. Alright, this was a breakout structure, and this is my inducement. If you are taking any trade below this point, you are about to be induced. This is an inducement. An inducement is what brings liquidity. People tend to confuse between inducement and liquidity. Inducement is what entices you to take a trade. So what I mean by that is that this is an inducement that is telling people to think that this is a breakout structure. So people are thinking that this is a miniature breakout structure, and they are taking this as a high, as a protective high, and they are marking this as their zone, right? And what they are doing is that they are taking the trade right there. So that activity of you now deciding to take a trade, now that's you generating liquidity. But what made you to take that trade, like to see like this a possible setup? It is this false structure that the price did at this point that will tell you, oh, that will make you think, oh, now this is structure, let me sell, right? So this false structure is what we call inducement, and that false structure is what brings liquidity. How does it bring liquidity? By enticing you to take that trade, and some people are trying to sell from this point, and you will be surprised to see how price will crash them out up to this zone, and price will continue selling, right? So don't be those people that take a trade from this point. That's an inducement building up, and you may be induced. You may be induced in that point. Alright, so that's it from USD card, USD CHF. Do I have anything? USD CHF, not yet, until price will tap this supply zone. Alright, it's also bearish. USD card is bearish. Wanna see how price will tap to this point, this demand zone, and this fair value gap, or this other block and fair value gap, and then we can continue to the upside. Alright, so that's it. That's what I'm looking for today. This Monday, so no setup yet. If they will come, I'll also make another video about that, but that's what I'm anticipating to see from price, right? Always follow your rules for your trading system, and you are always just one trade away. Sign out.